Hi, it's Polar Glen here from Polar Mobility Edmonton. Today I am going to walk you through how to install and program your Espar Easy Start timer. Every day I get tons of calls from people needing help with their Easy Start timer. I hope this short video will answer as many questions as you may have. Although it's always best to have your Espar heater installed by a trained Espar technician, we know there's many great do-it-yourself type people with the skills and abilities to properly install their Espar heater. So let's get right to it. I'm going to introduce you to the Easy Start timer. Ta-da! Easy Start timer. Before we get into the actual timer operation, we have to make sure that we are first wired up properly. And that wiring is going to be determined by what type of heater you have. In this wiring diagram, we have the Espar 12 volt heaters, Hydronic HS3. This is the newer version heaters, the 2652 model and the 2912 models. The wiring diagram here shows red to red, brown to brown, and yellow to blue white. And then down here we have the 24 volt for the newer model heaters, the 25, 27, 45 models, and it shows red to red, brown to brown, and yellow to yellow. So the difference between wiring a 12 volt and a 24 volt timer in the newer versions is the yellow wire. In the 12 volt version we're going to blue white, and in the 24 volt version we're going yellow to yellow. So over here you'll see this is our harness. This is the wire that comes for the timer. And I've got it already split off so you can see that there's 3 wires: red, brown, and yellow. So first thing is make sure you've got your wiring right. Now there's also older generation heaters. 12 and 24 volt older generation heaters are wired the same way. Sometimes you'll get an older harness that has a blue-white wire in there. If you have that, then go red to red, brown to brown, blue-white to blue-white, and yellow to yellow. These are for your Espar Generation 1 and 2 heaters, both 12 and 24 volt. Some of the common models would be the 25, 23, 25, the 25, 22, 17, and the 25, 21, 47. So now, below this we have a description of what you should do once you've installed your timer, how to set up your controller. But rather than just show you the words, I'm going to show you on the actual timer itself in our handy dandy little display box that we have built for our customers here in Edmonton so that we can teach them how to use their timer before they even leave the premises. So I'm just going to turn this on. Once the power is turned on to the heater, to the Easy Start controller, it will display INIT, which is short for initialize. When the initialization is complete, the current time and day of the week will need to be set. Currently you can see it shows 0000, so I'm just going to use the arrow keys to set this to what time it is. 10:16. I go to 10, push the bottom right arrow, it makes a second set of numbers flash, and then I scroll up to 16 because it's 10:06. Well, we'll call it 10:17 in the morning. I push the bottom right button again, and I'm going to select the day. It is Tuesday here in Edmonton. Once I've got the proper day selected, I could select any day of the week, Monday to Sunday, and I'm going to select Tuesday and push the bottom right button. And there we have it. I have just set the time on the heater. So now you'll see there's a flashing, back on. You'll see that the 3 squiggly lines are flashing. And there's a P off to the left, and there's a wrench off to the right. So the first thing we need to do after we've wired our timer, set our time and day, is we go to the wrench. This is the service menu. We're going to push the right bottom button, and when we see that clock flashing, we're going to push down the left button and hold it, and hold it, and hold it, and hold it until we see the service menu come up. Once inside the service menu, you can see as I scroll through using the arrow keys, I can start at 1.11, 1.12, 1.21, 1.22, and so on. There's 4 things we need to look at when we first set up our Easy Start timer. First thing, you go to number 4, 4.1. Then you'll hit the bottom right arrow. This makes that number flash. Right now you'll see it says 720. That is minutes. So you can go in a range between 10 minutes all the way up to 720 minutes. What you're setting here is you're actually setting the length of time that the heater will run when you turn it on in manual mode. Not when you set a program, but when you turn it on in manual. So as you can see, I can scroll all the way down to 10 minutes, or I can set that as high as 720. Let's say that I want to have this heater go on for 2 hours when I press the manual button. I just set this for 120 minutes, push the bottom right button, Bob's your uncle, we're set. 120 minutes is what that heater will come on when you press the manual button. If I want to change it, I just push the bottom right, and maybe I want to go up to 720 minutes. And the nice thing is that you don't have to keep pushing the button. You can simply hold the button down to let it scroll to the numbers. So after we've set 4.1, we're going to use our arrow keys and scroll through. The next one is going to be to 8. As you can see, this one says EN. Most times from factory, that's going to say DE, which I believe is German or Dutch, German, I believe. So to change that, you simply choose your options, either EN or DE. I prefer EN as I speak English, or at least I try to. So now we're going to scroll from 8 up to 10. 10 is very important. You have the options of on or off. The factory setting is set to off. What you want to do is you want to set this to on. The reason you wanted it on is because this tells the heater that the time you set on your program is when you want the heater to come on and run for the amount of time that you've set in the actual program that you're going to set. If you have it set to off, the heater will, for example, let's say you've got it set to come on at 6 o'clock in the morning. Instead of the heater coming on at 6 and running from 6 to whenever you want it to stop, it's going to come on and be ready to go for 6 o'clock. So I highly recommend that you turn this service button on number 10 to on. That way, when you set that heater to come on at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's going to come on and run the specified amount of time you've set on your program. So number 10 is very important. Now, if you're at a 12 volt heater, you can stop there. You don't have to go to 12.1. If you have a 24 volt heater, you should come to 12.1, select, and scroll through the options. So the options you have are off, JE, S1 plus, or S2 plus. I'm not sure what the JE is, what it does, or what the S2 plus does, but on the 24 volt heaters, we always set them to S1 plus. This allows the timer to actually trigger the heater and run the heater. So 12.1, you're going to set S1 plus on 24 volt heaters. And there we go. That's it. After you've done setting that, you can exit the service menu however you want. Just push the bottom left-hand button and you're out of the service menu. Push the left button again and we go back to the main menu. So that's our service menu. This is our time that when you set a heater to come on manually. So I've got that flashing. While it's flashing, I push the bottom right-hand button. Now for some reason this is flashing 30 minutes. I thought I set that to go off at 720. Maybe Brandon can tell me.
No,
more.
that's your maximum time.
That's your maximum time.
Yeah, so 120 is your max, and now if you set it to
No,
your maximum amount, or
no,
your
my
720,
max I set to 720.
yeah, so go up to 720, and then from there, every time you instant start it, it's gonna be at 720.
Okay, so once I set this once to come on, then I'm good to go.
Yeah, there you go. So hit.
So now I hit the bottom right hand button,
Yeah.
and to turn it on, I push that. And
So now hit the bottom left.
I hit,
turn it off.
Yep.
And turn it on again, and let's make sure we still have 720 there.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. It's just factory set for 30 minutes.
Right. So now I've got that heater flashing and on, and it will start at the amount of minutes I've asked it to go, which is 720, and it will count down from there. Now let's say I go in and I do my Christmas shopping and I come back out, my heater's running, and I want to turn it off. So we can see that the flashing is going on, which tells us that the heater is running and counting down from the timer, counting down the time from the minutes. We're just going to push the left button and it'll simply say off. And we are now turned our heater off. Now, let's talk about setting a program. Go to the P button and you'll see under the P, sorry, don't go to the P on the screen, not the P button. The P is flashing. Oh, back here and back to the P. The P is flashing, and you can see that we push the bottom right button to go into the program 1, and you can see P1 is flashing. I can use the arrow keys to go to P1, select P2 or P3. So just to review, if you look at this right now, it says P1, Monday to Friday, 7 o'clock, 30 minutes. So I'm going to push the bottom right button. On the P1, I have the options of on, off, or the wrench being the settings. So I'm going to push the bottom right button, and next I see, oh, days are flashing. Monday to Friday, Saturday plus Sunday, Monday to Sunday, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, so I'm going to want to set this timer to come on Monday to Friday. So I'm just going to select Monday to Friday. Okay, 7 o'clock. Now, let's say I wanted it in the afternoon. I've got this on a 24-hour clock, so what, 1 o'clock in the afternoon would be
13.
Yeah, 13. Yeah, thank you. And maybe I want it to come on at 3 minutes after 13:03. Okay. And then maybe I realize that, I really would like to have this thing go on for 2 hours. Maybe 2 hours isn't enough. So I'm going to see how far can I really go. Oh, 2 hours. That's the max. Okay. So we've got this set to run 120 minutes. I'm going to push the right bottom button. Now, on the P1, you'll see I've got it flashing to on. And you know what? I think I'm going to change my mind here. I'm going to set that to come on Monday to Friday at 7 o'clock in the morning. Push the bottom right button to scroll to the next set of numbers and push again and push again. 120 minutes. I am good. Now I've got it set to on. I push the bottom right button. So P1 is set Monday to Friday to come on at 7 a.m. at 120 minutes. Okay, I wanted that heater to come on for 3 hours. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a little sneaky here. I'm going to go to my program 2. I'm going to go to the wrench, which is the settings, push the button Monday to Friday. I'm going to select that. Then I'm going to go, okay, so that first program is going to run from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the morning. So I want this to have a good 5-minute cool down. So I'm going to set my next set of programs to come on at 9:06 a.m. And I want it to run for 2 hours as well. So I'm just going to push and hold the button until we get to the 2-hour mark. And Bob's your uncle, push the right-hand button, and you see that we've selected it now to on, and there we go. P2 is set for 9:06 in the morning, Monday to Friday, 120 minutes. Okay. Now I go back here and I see that when I look at my timer here, my P has a little squiggly line beside it. The squiggly line indicates that I have at least one program set to go. When you look at that P squiggling, and then you can see below it, when you selected the P, you can see there's a checkbox in the 1 and a checkbox in the 2. So that heater is programmed now to come on for programs 1 and 2, which, as you remember, we set program 1 to come on Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. for 120 minutes. We set program 2 to come on 2 hours and 6 minutes later from 9:06 and 2 hours from there. There's a checkbox in 1, a checkbox in 2. Bob's your uncle, we're good to go. And that's how you set a program. So that's the Easy Start timer in a nutshell. And I hope this has helped you, and thank you for taking time to watch our video.